Hello, YouTube world, YouTube America, everywhere in YouTube land. This past Saturday, one of the greatest fights in the history of fighting as a sanctioned event took place, and there's a interesting question that I would like to pose to those who are familiar with the fight, who have seen the fight. I've only seen it once. Hopefully, if anyone watches this, it'll be a handful of people or just a single person who has seen the fight twice, who has a more holistic and educated view of the events that transpired during the fight. Because my question, my debate that I would like to raise is very similar to a lot of the craziness that's been going on Twitter almost immediately after the fight. People took to the internet to claim blasphemy and say Gustafsson won the fight. Well, I will say, as soon as the fight ended, my immediate gut reaction was, shit, Jones won. Of course I was rooting for Gustafsson. Everyone was. But I thought Jones was gonna win. Immediately I thought, well, we all know MMA judges, it's going to Jones. And that obviously ended up being the case. But once I had a second to review the fight and actually give it a score myself, I had it 3-2 Gustafsson. And most of the people that have rated it that same score, I've noticed, have given Gustafsson the first 3 rounds. I haven't won the fourth. Haven't won the first, second, and fourth. And the fourth because I believe he controlled the first 4 minutes of the fourth round. And Jon Jones turned the tables in the last minute. Was able to take that momentum into the 5th round. Now, if that's what you're judging, if you're judging his aggressiveness, his octagon control in that final minute of that 4th round, then by all means he won that round. But I don't think that's how it works. That's not how it works, with at least when I'm judging a fight. And I think it's interesting how you have that sort of dichotomy where I'm viewing the fight this certain way. I know someone else has to view rounds in a different light, but really those two viewpoints like to view a round as being won by whoever controls the majority of that round in terms of time. As the winner of that round, that's not necessarily like crossing the rules to the judging criteria in the UFC. I don't think that really crosses that line. I think for sure that could constitute as definitely within those rules. But at the same time, I can't really argue if someone judged it to Jones because clearly that was the most dominant moment of that round. It was a lot more dominant in terms of how much energy Gustafsson had to expend by defending it. Obviously, that elbow and the barrage of knees, but I still I would like to know really like a thorough um, description of what someone else sort of saw in the round and why they would judge that round for Jones. Maybe the majority of the universe thinks I'm um, missing something for uh, you know, for me to give the round to Gustafsson, but I thought it was pretty clear, and I'll have to go back and look at that fourth round because Jones might have landed some shots within those first 4 minutes, but really I think Gustafsson had control until Jones flipped it over, and obviously going into the fifth round he had momentum, but you know you can view rounds of a fight in many different ways. You can view each round as an organism that is contributing to a greater whole, or you can really view those rounds as individual sectors of that fight, and they still contribute to a greater whole. But I don't think it's I don't think it's the same side by side in the way that you judge it if you view each round as its own individual sort of entity. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Maybe it's looking at it way too over analytical, but still, I think that that round raises a really great debate, and that fight, if it doesn't see if this were, I don't know, I feel like this one's gonna happen again before Glover happens, Like if they were gonna push the Glover fight, they shouldn't have they should have waited until after this shit transpired. They shouldn't have fucking started before before this Gustafsson fight, because you could predict this with the UFC for sure. The UFC is not a perfect machine by any means. But still, I would like to know opinions. Is there anyone else out there who had Gustafsson winning the fourth round? That's what I would like to know. Because apparently even his coach had the fourth round going to Jones. Apparently he said that on MMA Junkie Radio, which surprises me for sure. But anyways, I hope to see that fight again. I hope to hear your opinion.